This is a slideshow that has been brought to you by me and Bicycle Billy.
Is this you? You love biking everywhere, but you're just not sure whether or not you need to bring your bike with you to college? If so, stick around. I just might have some information that can help you make this decision. In this video, I will be discussing and reviewing different means of transportation at college, specifically at Princeton University. I'm doing this for two main reasons. First of all, to help any unsuspecting pre-fosh out there who are trying to figure out whether or not you need a bike or a scooter in order to navigate campus. And second of all, because I think transportation on college campuses needs to be talked about more. Like, tell me why I'm risking my life every day just to go to class. Like, I literally have to weave through all the bikes and scooters and like joust in order to get to my class on time in one piece. So let's get into it. I have 5 categories of transportation for you all. There is walking, biking, scootering, and then a train on campus called the Dinky, and a free bus service on campus called Tiger Transit. And I've made a handy dandy PowerPoint for you all to go along with this, just so you can have some visuals. So let's get into the first category, walking. Of course, accessibility allowing. The pros of walking are that you get your steps in. So if you're someone who's health conscious and you want to make sure you're getting in X amount of steps every day, walking is definitely a way to achieve that. Now, the cons of walking are, first of all, in my opinion, it's not very efficient. On multiple occasions, walking from class to class here at Princeton, I have gotten to the middle of the walk and thought to myself, I've been walking for a really long time and I'm still not there yet. And that can be a really frustrating thought to have. I'd also say that bikes and scooters are another con, in the sense that there's often little consideration for pedestrians. I find bikes and scooters will just whiz past and you won't even know they're next to you until they're already light years ahead of you. Or there's the bikers with their kind of annoying little bells, and they'll just like press them aggressively until we step out of the way. So that's something to consider. Let's get into the next category of transportation, which is scootering. I would say that there are 2 main pros to scootering. First of all, it's pretty fast. I know scooters can go up to 10, 15 miles an hour depending on the kind that you get. And it's also low to no effort. You really just have to hop on and ride wherever you're going. I highly do not recommend getting a non-electric scooter because that just is not a good idea. No, please don't. So get an electrical scooter. In that case, it will be no effort. Now, there are a couple cons to scootering as well. First of all, you don't really get any exercise, and if that's something that you're concerned about, this definitely would be a con. Another con is that you have to charge your scooter since it is electrical. And so if you forget to charge your scooter one day, then that would just be really frustrating and you'd have to walk anyways. Last con of scootering is that the wheels on scooters are pretty small, so you'd have to be pretty judicious and pretty careful about where you choose to ride your scooter. I know on Princeton's campus, there are plenty of potholes, uneven asphalt. It's really easy to hit a rock or hit a pothole, and then all of a sudden your ride has become significantly more bumpy. So that is another con. Let's move on to the next category of transportation, which is biking, or for the select few who like to flex, e-biking. Now, there are a couple of pros to biking. First of all, you actually can get some exercise from it. I'd argue a bit more than just walking. And you also have larger wheels on most bikes, and so that's a lot more stable than your average scooter. The last pro that I can come up with for biking is that there is a bike fixing co-op on Princeton's campus called the Psych Lab. It's open 3 days a week, and there are lots of resources to help you fix your bike, learn more about your bike, and just generally have support with bike riding on campus. Now, let's get into the cons of biking. First of all, bikes are pretty big unless you have a really expensive foldable version, and so storing your bike is definitely a consideration. I know a lot of students on campus look into buying summer storage for their bikes, and so that's definitely a cost you'd have to consider before getting a bike. Another con is pedestrians, strangely enough, and I will let you in on a little secret. There are specific times of day when everyone is either going to class or leaving their class, and so it can be really hard to bike when hundreds of people are leaving one lecture hall in order to go to another. Those times are like 10 a.m., 11 a.m., noon, 1 p.m., like peak class times. And so if you get out of your lecture hall like, yes, I'm gonna whiz on my bike to my next class and be ahead of the game, I'm gonna get there before everyone else, that's not always the case, because you can end up getting stuck in a crowd of pedestrians, and then suddenly riding your bike is significantly harder to do. In these cases, I usually wait for the crowd to disperse a little bit before riding my bike, or what I'll do sometimes is walk my bike around the crowds of people, remount my bike, and then I will be on my merry way. So that's definitely something you have to consider. Sometimes bikes are just really hard to ride, especially if it's raining or snowing one day and you don't have fenders, for example. That's also something that you have to consider before getting a bike. Now, let's get into the lovely and fantastic Tiger Transit. It's a free bus route that runs around Princeton's campus. The pros of Tiger Transit are that, first of all, it is completely and utterly free. It costs $0.00, which is always a sweet deal. And there are lots of different stops around campus. I will try to insert a map here of all the different stops. Tiger Transit also can take students to different shopping centers on the weekend, which is great for grocery shopping, any sort of clothes shopping, or last minute dorm supply shopping, anything like that. Another pro of Tiger Transit is that since it is a bus, you aren't going to be out in the elements. If it's raining or snowing, you'll at least have the warmth and the shelter of Tiger Transit while you're riding it, which would not be the case if you were biking or trying to scooter in those elements. Now, in my opinion, there are two cons of Tiger Transit. First of all, it only runs at select hours of the day, and so if you're leaving a building after some late night studying and trying to catch the bus, it might not actually be running, in which case you'd have to walk home late at night. Another con is that you have to actually catch the bus. You have to work with its schedule. It does not work with your schedule. And for me, I'm not always the best at being on time, I will be honest. And so there have been multiple occasions where I have gotten to the Tiger Transit bus stop just as the bus is leaving. And that is one of the worst feelings in the world, I can assure you. Last but not least, we have the Dinky. Now, I don't know where that name comes from, but the Dinky is basically a train station that we have at the very bottom of Princeton's campus. A lot of people can get to New York or Pennsylvania using the Dinky. Now, the pros are that it can take you a wide variety of places way beyond the 1 mile radius of Princeton, and I think it's relatively cheap. It is also right next to the Wall, which is a convenience store on campus, and so proximity to food, what is not to love? Now, there are some cons to the Dinky. First of which is I'm not fully sure how it works. I've only been on it a couple of times, but essentially the way it works, at least for getting to New York, for example, is you have to ride the Dinky from the Princeton station to another station called the Princeton Junction station, which is like 5 minutes away. It is a really short train ride. And then after you get off at Princeton Junction station, you then have to walk under a tunnel, switch trains, and then go on the train that will take you to New York. And so that's kind of complicated, definitely not straightforward for someone who's riding for the first time, and that is something to consider. Another thing to consider is the cost of train tickets. And I know right now train tickets to New York are about $30, $40. And so that is something to work into your budget should you be trying to use the Dinky. Just to give you all some context, I actually ride a bike around campus, and I started this past semester, so spring semester of my freshman year. Last semester, fall semester, I was just walking anywhere I needed to get to. And I can honestly say that I really appreciate the speed of the bike. Something that I've realized is that campus is basically on one big slope, like a big hill. And so the downhills are glorious and the uphills are a grind. But I'd say that the downhills are worth it for me. And I just also really enjoy riding my bike. It's made commuting a lot more fun for me. Now, if you're considering getting a bike and bringing it to campus, I definitely take into account everything that I just said in order to figure out whether biking might be the right choice for you. Ultimately, I do think that there needs to also be a conversation around bike etiquette and scooter etiquette on a college campus, specifically because I think both pedestrians and bikers/scooters alike can be more proactive about communicating when they're in close proximity so that one person does not get injured because of another person's lack of communication and vice versa. I don't know how it is on other college campuses, but riding a bike or scooter with a helmet here is, I feel like, considered uncool, or it's just not very common to see people actually wearing helmets. I don't know why that's the case. I personally use a helmet for my own peace of mind and my own safety, but that's also another thing to consider. I would not want to be the person who rides without a helmet thinking that they're fine and then gets into a crash and is suddenly very not fine. I always would err on the side of caution, and so definitely make sure to get a helmet if you are bringing a bike or scooter to campus. Thank you so much for watching this video. Do you ride a bike on campus if you're already on a college campus? And if you're coming to campus, where are you in the thought process for whether or not you will bring a bike? You can click here to watch more of my videos. In the meantime, I hope you have a restful and relaxing day, and I will see you in a video soon. Bye!